It Happened Tomorrow, directed by Renee Clare. It Happened Tomorrow was released in 1944. The movie was directed by Renee Clare and stars Dick Powell, Linda Darnell, and Jack Oakie. The genre of this movie is comedy and fantasy. The movie was also based on a play called The Gist of Aha Lava. The movie opens with a celebration of a couple's 50th anniversary. The next scene opens with another celebration of an obituary writer getting a new job as a reporter. The men in the newsroom joke about being able to know what will happen the day before it happens. When the men leave the newsroom in search of a drink, they stumble upon a fortune teller and decide to see the show. The main character, Larry Stevens, finds Sylvia Smith, the fortune teller, attractive and decides to pursue her. On the way home from her house, Stephen sees Pop and receives a paper from him. When Stevens looks at the newspaper, he notices tomorrow's date printed on it. He calls this a fluke until the news in the paper begins to come true. The newspaper, the newspaper predicts a holdup that will happen tonight at a concert. Stephen brings Sylvia to the concert to witness the holdup and prove the newspaper is the real deal. Stephen uses this paper to get a promotion at his current job. He gets questioned by the local police because they think he has something to do with the holdup because he predicted it. Pop returns with another paper after Stevens has been detained by the police. Stevens lets the police know about the concert bandits trying to rob the bank. He also finds out about a woman's attempted suicide. The woman turns out to be Sylvia, trying to make a prediction she made earlier that night sound true. After an incident, Stevens is hospitalized and learns from the newspaper from Pop that he will die that day. Stevens also marries Sylvia on this day. Stephen tries everything in his power to stay away from St. George Hotel because the newspaper predicts that's where his death is going to be. Stephen spends his day/honeymoon at the horse races betting on horses. After leaving the horse races, they got robbed of their winnings in a carriage burglary. Pop is revealed to have passed away. He passed away after the first scene he was shown in the movie. Stevens hasn't been seeing the actual Pop throughout the movie. Stevens' boss sends him to the St. George Hotel, which is the place the newspaper predicted Stevens' death. Stephen gets robbed again trying to avoid the hotel and leads a chase with the burglar all over the town. Eventually, the chase ends at St. George's Hotel. In a twist of events, the actual Lawrence Stevens was spared in the shooting. The man who stole Stevens' wallet was believed to be Stevens because his wallet was found on the burglar's dead body. Sylvia and Stevens live happily ever after, and it is revealed that the bickering couple in the beginning was Stevens and Sylvia. I really enjoyed the film. The characters were written well, and the actors did a great job portraying these characters. And the plot was very interesting, and I never got bored or disinterested during this movie. Also, another thing, the fight choreography at the end of the movie was probably some of the best I've seen in some of the older movies I've watched, and they were great, in my opinion. Also, the fantasy aspect in the movie was really good. It was never cheesy and it never made you roll your eyes because it was cheesy and predictable. It was never over dramatic and everything was interesting in the fantasy department. And a review from Bruce Eder from the All Movie website. He says the film represents an extraordinary balancing act between comedy and drama, romance and fantasy, briskly paced in all of the right places, and reflective and mysterious where it needs to be. I completely agree. The director took all of these elements, combined them great, and it was just a great movie. There wasn't really anything negative I thought about this movie, but if I had to nitpick, I would say the comedy of the time was different from comedy today, obviously. So there could have been some jokes or one-liners that went completely over my head. Um, Another thing was obviously sound technology was new during this time, but it was a great feat that this movie had sound in it. The quality may not have been the greatest, but it had sound and it worked great for the movie. And another thing, it's kind of a nitpick, but the ages of the actors compared to their characters was a little stretched. Like for example, the main character, the actor looked like he was middle aged, and I'm pretty sure the character was supposed to be portrayed as a young go getter um, news reporter, but I could be completely wrong. It just seemed he was a little too old for the role. And there was another review by Nathan Robbins. I agree with this. He says, though the clearly middle-aged Dick Powell, was probably at least 10 years too old to be playing a cub reporter. I agree. He looked a little old to be as young as he was supposed to be portrayed. And the wrap up, the the technology in this movie was very good considering how young. The plot progression was another great point in this movie. The spikes in excitement with each new newspaper kept excitement up, and it never bored me watching this movie. I never had a moment where I was wanting to watch something else. The theme of staying in the moment was a very, very big theme in this movie, and it's a very big theme in my life also, and everyone else's. Staying in the moment is very important, and it got away from Larry Stevens in this movie, and we saw what happened to him. Thank you so much.